Ncuti Gatwa's 15th Doctor has now regenerated, meaning it's time to say goodbye to his era. But it really was quite short-lived. It has only been 18 months since we first saw him bigenerate in The Giggle, and we only ended up getting 2 seasons with him, both of which were some of the shortest seasons in Doctor Who history. And in this era, there did seem to be an emphasis on avoiding villains that we have seen over and over again. But because the 15th Doctor's reign did only last a very small amount of time, it does mean that he actually hasn't faced any of the most iconic villains that you think of when you think of Doctor Who. Now, obviously, he might face these villains in audio dramas or books, but today we're just going to focus on the TV show itself and take a look at all that the 15th Doctor has missed out on compared to the other Doctors. The biggest one is, of course, the Daleks. When you think of Doctor Who, you think of Exterminate, you think of the Daleks. How on earth did he not face the Daleks? Every single Doctor has faced the Daleks at some point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 all did. The War Doctor did in the 50th anniversary specials. 9, 10, 11, 12 and 13 all did. The Fugitive Doctor faced them in The Power of the Doctor. Even the 14th Doctor faced them in the Children in Need special. And the 8th Doctor, during his mini-sode that was released for the 50th anniversary special, where we see him regenerate into the War Doctor, we technically don't see a Dalek, but we know they're around. We know this has taken place in the Time War. The Daleks are mentioned by his companions, suggesting that they've just faced Daleks together, and he's running on basically a Dalek ship. So he did meet the Daleks. 15th Doctor didn't face them once. How? Like, I know Ncuti said he was ready to leave, but surely you can't be ready to leave without facing the Daleks. Like, that is like Doctor Who bingo card number 1. And with the Daleks, we of course have their creator, Davros. Now, Davros has faced against not all of the Doctors, but certainly most of them. He was first introduced in Genesis of the Daleks with the 4th Doctor, so therefore he didn't actually face 1, 2 or 3. And then he had interactions with 5, 6, 7, 10, 12, and again, even 14 in that Children in Need special. Although in that special, he did have a very different look, slightly controversial. I personally think they should go back to the original Davros look. Next, we have the Cybermen. They come hand in hand with the Daleks when you think of iconic Doctor Who villains. And in fairness, not every Doctor has faced the Cybermen, but the majority have. 1 and 2 both did. Now, 3 technically didn't face any during his era, but then when he returned in the 5 Doctors, the Cybermen are the main villains of that special, so he faced them there. 4, 5, 6 and 7 all did as well, so that's all the classic Who Doctors faced them. They returned in New Who with 10 and have remained ever since with 11, 12, 13 and even the Fugitive Doctor facing them in The Power of the Doctor. The only Doctors who haven't faced them are the War Doctor and the 8th Doctor, who both only appear in Doctor Who movies where the Cybermen just aren't present, and the 9th Doctor didn't also face them, but that's because Doctor Who was in its only first season at that point, and the 9th Doctor only got 1 season, and they were going to prioritize introducing the Daleks in that season, so I don't blame them. But now the 15th Doctor also joins 8, War and 9 as never facing the Cybermen. Next, we have the Doctor's arch nemesis, the Master, who in fairness is mentioned quite a lot throughout Ncuti Gatwa's reign, mentioned by the Rani, mentioned by the Toymaker. We technically see the Master's tooth, so if that counts for anything. But the Master faced against 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7, and he was the main villain for the Doctor Who movie for the 8th Doctor. He returned for the 10th Doctor, and then 12, 13 and the Fugitive Doctor all fought him. 1 and 2 didn't because he hadn't been introduced as a character yet. The War Doctor didn't, 9, 11 and 14 also didn't, and now 15 as well. Centaurans are next, who have appeared several times, not even as villains necessarily if you look at someone like Strax, and the Centaurans have also appeared a lot in the spin-off shows such as the Sarah Jane Adventures. The Centaurans faced against 3, 4, 6 and 2 actually did face the Centaurans as well, he just didn't face them in his era. When 2 returned with the 6th Doctor for the 2 Doctors, the main villains were the Centaurans. Then in Modern Who, 10, 11 and 12 have all faced them, with 12 mainly only experiencing Centaurans as cameo characters like Strax, and then they of course returned as main villains in Flux for 13, which means 1, 5, 7, 8, War, 9, Fugitive, 14 and 15 did not face them. So it's about half and half with the Centaurans. The Weeping Angels are next. Now obviously none of the classic Doctors faced the Weeping Angels because they are a New Who creation, but in New Who they've been so iconic that they have appeared throughout New Who countless times as recurring villains. 10, 11, 12, and 13 all faced them at some point, with 13 even turning into one at the end of Village of the Angels. The Fugitive Doctor technically doesn't face them, but does appear in the same episode as them, so I'm going to count it. But unfortunately, 15 never got to face them. The Zygons are also enough of a recurring villain that they were the main villains for the 50th anniversary special. They faced 4, the War Doctor, 10, 11, and 12, but not 15. The Ice Warriors have been returning throughout Who as well. They appeared for Doctors 2, 3, 11, and 12, so a lot less for the Ice Warriors. The Autons are our final mainline recurring villain, which 15 also did not face, appearing for 3, 9, 11, and technically 10, because they do appear in the same episode as the 10th Doctor for Love and Monsters, but he doesn't technically face them because it's sort of like a flashback to 9's era, but I'm going to count it anyway. So those are all the villains that 15 misses out on. He misses out on the main 3 villains of Doctor Who: the Daleks, the Cybermen, and the Master. But what did he get that most Doctors also do as well? Well, of course he faced against the Time Lords, which are a huge recurring villain and non-villain throughout all of the Doctor's reigns, such as the Rani and Omega, who are outright returning villains in themselves, but they're just not as well known. He did also meet a Silurian in the Time Hotel, and the Silurians have returned several times throughout Doctor Who for several different Doctors. The 15th Doctor tended to get the return of one-off villains who might turn into more iconic villains in the future. For example, he saw the Toymaker, who'd only appeared once before, Sutek, who'd only appeared once before, and even the Midnight Entity, who I never thought we'd ever see again, but it returned in the Well. So that was the 15th Doctor's reign. Ncuti Gatwa, unfortunately, he didn't actually face off against many iconic Doctor Who villains, and instead got lots of new ones and lots of returning foes who you wouldn't really think of as iconic for Doctor Who. But is that a shame or not? What do you think? I personally do think it's a shame. I think we've lost 15 too early, and I think because of this whole Disney Plus deal and because of how massive Ncuti Gatwa was becoming, it was inevitable. But even if in this final episode we could have even gotten like one cameo appearance from a Dalek, I know everyone would have rolled their eyes, but I feel like he needs to face the Daleks at least some point. Please return in the future to face the Daleks. But guys, what did you think about this? Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. And as always, we've been here on Gated Theories. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.